Today we have my good buddy of mine, Jesse Hopkins. I'm going to read his terrible bio. So it says, Jesse Hopkins works with motivated leaders who want to maximize their potential through discovering their unique talents so they can leverage those talents to be better spouses, leaders, influencers. He's a certified Gallup strength coach, full focus planners trainer, leadership coach, and developer. His passion is to learn and contribute to the community of people he's involved with. So the thing about Jesse that's highly unique to Jesse is, again, his ability to find people's zone of genius, and that's what he's going to be talking about today. Now, I want you to imagine this, okay? In your life, currently as a business owner, you waste a significant amount of time on shit that won't make you money. And by the way, you hate doing it. I personally, since meeting Jesse, have spent more time focusing on, hey, is this something I enjoy doing? Is this my zone of genius? Should I be giving this away? I'm telling you, around just by knowing Jesse and having that in the forefront of my mind, I have made more money as a result of knowing Jesse. So put your hands together, clap your mics, do whatever you do virtually for my good friend, Jesse Hopkins.
What's up, guys? I definitely feel, Raylan, that was a powerful introduction. I appreciate that. And that bio was stolen off of one of my social media things. So we could keep working on that. It's not the final draft. It's good. It's good. Awesome, guys. Well, I appreciate everybody sharing a little bit of time with me this Saturday. We're going to talk a little bit about the zone of genius like Raylan is talking. I'll try to look into the camera. If I look out, it's just my way of thinking. So once we get started, we'll be good. A little bit about me. I have spent the last 13 years in a corporate setting. I helped a company grow. My previous job that I just resigned from. And I do want to tell you this. Raylan is so right. When you put your money where your mouth is and you start to walk the talk, you start executing. So it's important to spend the money. 2 months ago, I resigned so I could do this full time. And I was able to land a couple of corporate gigs that helped completely replace my salary and a little bit more. So really excited about that. But what I did and how I've gotten to where I was is I helped scale a business. When I started with this company, there were 3 locations in 2 different states. And over the last 13 years, we helped scale it from the 3 locations to 30 locations in 10 different states. I wore lots of hats through it. I've done sales, HR, marketing. I suck at accounting, so I try not to do that. And that will be, when we talk about zones of genius, like areas to avoid, right? Things that you know you're not good at and doesn't bring you energy. But we grew it from, it was roughly $8 to $10 million to $71 million last year. And this year, they're going to probably cover 90. But a little bit of what I did with them is I helped them create management structures. I helped them find what they're good at, not just as individuals, but as a company, and we executed. So hopefully you guys are ready to talk a little bit. If you have, let's get out some pen and paper, and let's get ready to take some notes. We are going to have an exercise where we write down a little bit. I want you guys to, we're going to do a little bit of self-assessment, do some self-awareness exercises, and we're going to talk. So what is the zone of genius? Our zone of genius is really, I use kind of a crosshair for this, right? So if I was doing a little, like, we really create a bullseye. It's where your talent meets your passion, right? So there's talent. This is what you are naturally good at. I can give you, let me pull it up here real quick so I can look at it. Talent, and I'm going to use Gallup. I'm going to use a lot of Gallup's kind of language here. Give you a little bit of a background on Gallup. Gallup is a highly scientific, psychological organization. They do a lot of your polls, so they're very statistics driven. And they had, a couple years ago, they had a guy that created this thing called the Strengths Finder. And really what it is it's a way for us to discover your talent. So talent is a naturally recurring pattern of thought, feeling, or behavior that can be productively applied. So I just want to, again, I want to read that to you. Talent is a naturally recurring pattern of thought, feeling, or behavior that can be productively applied. A little bit more of my background, I did some study. I have a graduate degree in human capital or human resources. And what your capital is, it's how you show up to work, right? So when we talk about entrepreneurship, how you show up is very important. So talent is what you have naturally. It's a naturally occurring pattern. Your passion is what you're interested in. So one of the things is I've kind of gotten to know Raylan and talk through just his path as he's discovering what he's really good at. One of the things we talked about when he originally started this, I met him as the sales coach. He was all about sales. He was going to help me grow a 10-figure business in 2 weeks. That's what we were going to do, right, Raylan? But as we've kind of talked a little bit, and as he's continuing on this path of discovering his zone of genius, it's kind of morphed a little bit. You know, it's still sales driven, but it's really, there's a facet of sales that he is really exceptionally good at and he loves to do. Each one of us have this talent. So for Chris, as we pick on Chris a little bit, our infamous comedian who shows up on occasion. Actually, he's here every day, guys. It's just asynchronous, not synchronous. But Chris has this very relationship driven, right? He really is about the relationship, and he's about teaching people how to use humor to dive into relationships. So he has a relationship talent that goes very, very deep. Is that fair, Chris? You can unmute if you want for a minute, do a little bit of interaction, if that's okay.
Yeah, for sure. Yes. Yeah, that's fair. And thank you for the kind words.
Yeah. So when you, like, as you think about your business, what is the main motivator for you?
The main motivator for me with my business is to help people.
Okay. Why?
Because that makes me feel good. I love using humor to help people be better entrepreneurs, better speakers.
Yeah. So humor is a talent. You are a naturally gifted, funny guy most of the time. At least I imagine you to be that way. That would be a talent, right? So talent, and then you have this relationship talent as well. So if I was asking you a question, do you prefer to have a lot of friends? Like if you were going to spend you're going to go out and you're going to have a good time. Do you want a lot of friends that you kind of know, not really, or do you want to go out with 3 or 4 really good friends that you have a deep relationship with?
Definitely the 3 or 4.
Yeah. And that's where we get the difference between an influencer and a relationship person. Does that make sense? So you're going to be driven not to go out, like you go out and you have fun and you're on the stage, but what really motivates you is getting to know somebody. That be fair?
Very fair. Yes.
Yeah. So we look at, thank you, Chris. I appreciate the participation as I use you as an illustration. So what we have here is we have Chris is very good. He's got this talent. He's funny, and he is really good at relationships. Raylan, if you don't mind me picking on you a little bit. So for you, as we look at what is your preference? Would you rather have 3 or 4 really close friends, like to spend the majority of your time with 3 or 4 really close people? Or do you want to see like a large crowd that you can kind of push in a direction?
Large crowd.
Large crowd, yeah. And that's the difference between that deep relationship and an influencer. What Raylan is really good at, and I'm just picking on you because you're the main guy, so you're an easy illustration. What Raylan is really good is he likes to influence the direction of, and you hear this, if you pay attention to talent, you can actually hear it in the way he shows up in media and in the way he presents in these groups. He's all about influencing, right? We're going to get you from point A to point B. That's an influencer. That's a leadership strategy. Does that mean that Raylan should be doing leadership all the time? Probably not, right, Raylan? You love leading. That doesn't mean that you want to teach everybody to lead. You do it intrinsically, though, by the way. So that's what I'm talking about. When we talk about talent, it's how you show up in your natural state of being, right? Now, passion is going to be a little bit different. So if you want to draw a straight line, your talent, and we're going to look through this, like, hey, what are you really good at? How do you show up? There's a lot of history that goes into this, so it's not an easy exercise. It takes some time. but we'll talk about talent. Your passion is what motivates you, like what makes you want to go. Now, talent and passion can be very similar in some ways, but again, passion is what you really, really, really enjoy doing. So talent is how you do it. Passion is what you do, right, with that talent. So passion might be some certain drivers. Let me see, Emily, you want to come back on to video for us? I love you. You got to unmute too, though.
What's up, my dude?
What's up? So tell me a little bit, and you may or may not know exactly what it is, but tell me about some of your passions. Like, what is it, your motivators that you wake up and you go, I am so freaking excited to do this today?
I love helping people.
Mm-hmm.
I love solving problems. I love logistically planning the best route of execution. I love the freedom to create.
Yeah. So you have this creative kind of energy, and some of this is talent too. Like I'm hearing some talent when you talk about your passion. But when we talk about how you use your talent, coaching is a really great, we talk about coaching, like that's how you help people, right? But do you want to sit down with somebody and do one-on-one coaching, or do you want to help them find the answer to their problem, right? Do you find more in the problem solving or in the relationship?
More in the problem solving.
Yeah. Yeah. Now there's this talent arena, and this is, again, it's talent, where we talk about execution. You are really high executor. So if you guys can write down, there's 4 main domains, and this is according to some Gallup research and the way they've put this. There are 4 main domains that we work out of: influencing, relationship, executing, and strategic thinking. Or really, it's just thinking. It's probably the right way to put it. It's very intellectual. So the more I've seen from you, Emily, as we've kind of had an opportunity to interact, like there are times when it's like you get impatient with people and you're like, just do what I tell you to do. Is that fair?
Yes.
Just do it. That is high execution. You're ready to get stuff done. And when you're in your zone of genius, it's when you feel like, so let me ask you another question before I go too far into it. Do you create a to-do list every day?
I try to.
Do you have a mental one?
Yes.
And how does it feel when you don't get that to-do list done?
Horrible.
Yeah, you're like, bro, I'm gonna go crazy, right? That is the signs of a high executor, right? What another talent that we call it is achievement, right? You're an achiever. You have this to-do list, you got to get it done. And so what we want to do when we talk about positioning, like let's say you for specific, we may want to put you where you're executing daily and you're just getting crap done. When we talk about helping people, now we want to position you where you can use that talent, which is executing, with your passion, which is helping people. And now we've got the zone of genius that we want to keep you in, right? So one of the things, and I think you're an influencer as well. You show up in your communication.
So sorry, can you go over the 4 once again? You went through it kind of fast.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Thank you for that. Execution, relationship, so you're relating, influencing, and strategic thinking. Sorry, guys, I don't mean to go fast. I get excited. I'm just going to talk, right? But when we talk about that, so then, Emily, when we're looking at what you've got, we want to position you to where you're executing, you're using that execution talent, but you're in that zone, like that passion where you're helping people. And that's where you're going to be energized. If we can keep you, if you have this kind of crosshair, and then I've got 3 zones: green, yellow, and red, right? And red is pretty much just anything outside of the green and yellow. The green is going to be when you use your talent and your passion to achieve an end goal. That's going to be your green. That's going to be the energy drivers. That's going to be where you are at your best. You're more energized. You can work tirelessly right? If you got a list of tasks, and we could talk through, because there's a lot, when you're in your zone of genius, we have to manage that properly too, because that zone of genius can turn into a weakness actually fairly quickly. But we can talk about that later. So this is your zone of genius: talent, passion, they intersect. We're going to position you there. That's where you get energy. And that's how you are the most productive in the marketplace. So let's take, for me, right? I am really big on influence. I love to influence. I'm like Raylan. I want to influence, and I'm a very high strategic thinker, right? That's the way this assessment kind of worked out for me. Give me 15 minutes, I'll get lost in ideas. I am a brainstormer. I love brainstorming. There's never an end to an idea. And I've never found an idea that I hated. Maybe a few I didn't like too much, but I love ideas. So when I look at that, I need to be influencing people and thinking. And this is where I come into, I've figured out, working as a consultant with businesses, working as a coach with people, puts me in my zone of genius, where I get to influence your thought, because I'm a strategic thinker and I'm an influencer. Now I can strategically influence people, and I love it, right? I love coming up with how to do things. You know, it just works very well for me. Now, conversely, what I'm terrible at is I am really not good at small details. I absolutely suck when it comes to details. One of my previous roles was HR, like I talked about, and I ended up in a space where they wanted me to do all the HR paperwork. I don't know if any of you have ever done HR, but let me tell you, there's a ton of paperwork. I sucked at it. I was awful at that job. So I tried to find somebody I can delegate to, because the way an influencer gets things done, I may not be like Emily, where I'm going to actually do all of the things. I'm going to go out and find somebody to do it for me, right? So I delegate really well. And strategically, the way I delegate is I've come up with this process. So that's an area where I can help corporations come in. Potentially, if any of you guys are at that space where you're ready to ramp up, I'm always willing to have a conversation and come up with some ideas. All right, kind of talked for a while. I'm at the 10:03 mark, and we have a few minutes here. We're going to do some individual work. Is there any questions or thoughts on, again, talent or passion? Any questions on that?
Yeah, so really quick, and I think I loved I think we'll start here. Is there anyone here that's not sure or that's not positive on where their sweet spot is, that crosshair, right? Where they're super passionate and they also feel purposeful. Is it fair to say, Jesse, that zone you're talking about is also that flow state? Like, it's easier to get into flow state because we love what we're doing and whatever. Is that fair?
Oh, for sure. 100%.
So does anyone here not know what their zone of genius is? Like, what's the thing that makes them love what they do? No, it looks like everybody knows their thing.
Hey, that's a beautiful thing. We're all cooking. I have to say hi to your brother. Is that Reese?
Yeah, everyone, this is Reese. Everyone say hi.
Hello. Hello.
What's good, my man?
Hi, Reese.
Love it. That is excellent. I'm glad that everybody kind of understands where their zone of genius might be. Now, this is the thing, like, one of the when we start talking about zone of genius, like, Raylan, did you believe you were in your zone of genius 6 months ago?
I thought I was, but I don't think I really was.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you were doing things that you thought you were good at,
Yeah.
but were they things that made you want to wake up and go to work in the morning?
No.
Small facets, right? There was a little bit of it because you're influencing people, but it wasn't your greatest energizer. So this is the thing, guys, as each of us go, like, and I understand, like, when we start talking about zone of genius, like, one, it's personal, right? And two, you could be in a spot where you're like, I don't necessarily want to talk about it because this is difficult emotional work. Sometimes it is, because we have to face, you may be showing up and feel like you suck at what you're doing today. Can we just talk about that reality for a minute? You know, and who wants to raise their hand and go, hey, yeah, I kind of suck, right? That's the reason why I'm here, by the way, is because I feel like I suck at what I'm doing. I need you guys to help me get to where I'm going. And I just want to let you know, it's okay. That's all right. That's not a big deal. Finding your zone of genius, it takes time. It takes process. I know here at like Elevated Coaches Academy, we want to do everything. And I just want to say something real quick. Raylan has this one talent. It's called an activator talent, according to Gallup. Activators don't like to sit around. Like, you got to get crap done and get it done now, because we don't want to sit in meetings. I'm an activator too. We don't want to sit in meetings, right? Because it doesn't feel productive. We want production. And so one of the things you'll see here in this group is it's like, hey, how do we make it faster? And that's that activator talent that comes out, right? Some things, although we want to go fast, we want to do it right. And I know that's another value when you work with Tim, when you work with Raylan, Elisa, it's doing it right as well. And what Raylan has done here is he's really built a really good team that balances that. Like, they're going to move, we're going to get it done quickly, but they balance it. We're going to do it right, because speed does not always trump getting it done correctly, right? It's always faster to do it once than have to do it twice, just to say that. But in your zone of genius, I know we want to go fast, but it takes a little bit of time. And you have to really spend some time digging in. What motivates you about what you're doing? So you guys have your papers out. I want you guys to write down a couple of questions. And these questions, we're going to use about 10 minutes here to kind of go through this, but try to take some time and really dig in deep. If you feel like this exercise is not just, it's usually not a 10-minute exercise, take your time. Like, go back and revisit this after we're done, right? Do it tonight, do it tomorrow. Check in with yourself daily. What is it? And this is the question. What gives me joy in life? So what brings your life joy? And then the next question to follow up is, why does that bring you joy? Now, it may be tempting for us just to focus on work, because that's how we produce money, right? Is work. But I want you to start thinking, like, don't limit it to just work. There are some things in your personal life, like for me, something that brings me joy is watching my children succeed, right? Now, you might say, well, every parent should feel that. Believe me, I had some screwed up parents. I don't think that's what they really found joy in life, but not everybody has that as a parent. That really does bring me joy. And that comes back down to helping people, right? So I can kind of figure that out. But that's something that brings me joy. Why does it bring you joy? Kind of write that out. The next thing to kind of write out here is, what part of work makes you happiest? So what do you enjoy most about the work that you do? The next question is, sorry, there's 4 of these. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6 of these. What are you good at? So if you haven't gone through the assessment, that's okay. You can still kind of begin. It's going to take a little bit more work. What are you good at? Because you really have to figure out not just an activity, but what makes you good at that task. And that's the next question. What are you good at? What makes you good at that? Then the last question is, and it's, again, we're going to kind of investigate, what is your biggest accomplishment? So if you were to go through your life and really look at it, what do you believe your biggest accomplishment is? And the last question to follow up on that, how did you do that? So how did you accomplish it? So if we're okay in this space right here, I know Raylan likes the, what is that hip hop called? The low key, lo-fi, hi-fi. Don't laugh at me, I'm old. I don't know. Like, listen.
What's that old hippity hop you like to listen to? Is it the hi-fi, lo-fi?
Yeah, you know, the stuff that you take when you're doing the ticky-tacks, right? You know what I'm talking about? You do the ticky-tacks before you Twitter out something, right? Let's do some, like, Hip hop is either East Coast or West Coast. Don't complicate it. All right, that's what we got. You got East Coast or West Coast, right? Anyways, Raylan, if you want to kind of lead us into this transition.
So
here.
what we're gonna do now is these questions. We're gonna go through the next 10 minutes. I'm gonna play lo-fi hip hop, and we're gonna jam out a little bit as we route these questions. Really quick. I'm gonna go over it one more time. The questions that they're filling out. So it's what brings you joy, why, work that makes me happiest, what are you good at, what is your biggest accomplishment, and how did you accomplish it?
Yes, sir.
You missed one. What makes you good at that?
What makes you good at it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, with what are you good at? What makes you good at that?
All right, guys, 10 minutes. Echo, play lo-fi hip hop. She's not listening to me today. Echo, play lo-fi hip hop.
Lo-fi hip hop music. Beats to relax/study from Raymond's Apple Music.
Do you want a notepad? Well, he was seen over here too.
No, like you're more seen here.
Oh, really? I'm so sorry, Lola. It was the morning time. Sure, Rob, I know that.
All right, guys. Echo. Stop playing music. All right, everybody. That was fun. By the way, like I feel like that's a little what would you say? That's like kind of like Tim's bag. It's a little that was some branding questions a little bit. Huh, Tim? Tim's wrote those down. He's like, I'm stealing these.
You come from the same spot right there.
I've been tempted to steal your stuff though, Tim. I'm not gonna lie to you, because it really is. It's the same spiel. How do you show up?
Yeah, but it's just now, what do you do with it? So your next step focused is, how do you use it to become more productive, more effective, all that. Or mine is like, how do you position that now for other people to see what you do? So it's the same core.
Yeah. The reason why this is such a beautiful, the academy here is so beautiful because we're so aligned to really help people get where they need to go. But all right, Ray, did you have something? Get it, boy. Woo, bless you, bless you. Ray, did you have something you wanted to say before we jump into this next piece, next section?
No. Did you want to go through these questions or what? Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you want to do?
Yep, let's do that. I want some volunteers. This is look, I could talk about this all day. I don't need to. I've already done my spiel. So somebody, Josh, I really appreciate picking on new people. So if you don't mind sharing a little bit with us, let's go through those questions.
Sure. Just all 6 of them?
Yeah, let's do that. Let's start with what do you feel like? I'm just going to ask you questions, and you can use that as a reference. But
yeah,
what do you feel like you're good at?
I feel like, well, I'm a very deep thinker, and I feel like I'm able to really think deeply about things and help people navigate their struggles. Yeah, I feel like that's one of the main parts.
Yeah, and you just look like a deep thinker. You just got that the face, you show up a certain way. So maybe let's unfold that a little bit more. Like, what do you mean you're a deep thinker? What kind of stuff? How old are you?
17.
Ooh, come on now. Love it.
Tim,
17-year-old entrepreneur.
You're a liar, bro. Tim told me that you were like 30. I was like, there's no way.
I'm having like a conversation recollection where you said you were like 30, but apparently I'm wrong. I've confused you.
I was like 100%. I was like, there's no way he's 30. But if he's 30, he has Benjamin Button syndrome. I swear to God. All right, go ahead.
I love it. All right.
Now I'm even more impressed, Josh. Sorry, go ahead.
Yes, very impressed, Josh. I love this. I love that you're showing up today and that you're starting your own business, my man. This is the perfect time for you to really establish yourself. So when you start talking about a deep thinker, I assume 17, you're still in school, or?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm
What's your
almost
favorite topic? What's your favorite class?
probably Chinese.
Wow, that's crazy. I'm not gonna lie to you. So you like Chinese. It's awesome. So I mean, now I have to stop. I'm gonna get shiny. I'm gonna get like all squirrel brain here for a minute. Okay, so Chinese. What do you like about Chinese?
I mean, just the challenge, honestly.
Okay.
It's not easy. It's something new, something that no one has, very few people I've met have done before.
Okay. Let me ask another question as we look at some of this. Do you do athletics at all?
Bowling, yeah.
Bowling? And like, tell me the worst temper tantrum you've ever had when you didn't win.
I mean, I don't.
You don't ever, like, you don't get upset when you
No.
lose? So you just
No.
take it, you're like, okay. Do you have
I
your
mean,
license?
it's a learning experience. It's
Okay.
yeah.
That's very mature of you, by the way. I appreciate it. I throw balls at other people's lanes when I'm losing. I'm like, nah, I'll just hit their pins. I'm good, right? So I assume you have your license, yeah?
Mhm.
Sorry, I don't mean to
Yeah.
put you on blast like this either. We're just gonna do. When you're driving, is it like, do you feel like you're racing people on the highway, or you're just cool with people passing you? Feel like you race a little bit?
Oh, sorry, my internet was unstable. Could you please repeat that?
Yeah, no, that's okay. When you're driving on the highway and somebody passes you, do you feel like it's a race? Like you got to go beat them?
No.
Okay. All right. One of the things that you said, and I think this is good when we look at some motivators, Josh, is you like to learn. You're a deep learner. So it's not just, hey, I
Yeah.
think deeply, but I like to learn new things. So that's one of your motivators. And that's actually a talent, right? I would assume you just like to learn for the sake of learning, because what are you going to do with Chinese? Do you plan on moving to China and becoming an importer?
No, it's just for the challenge.
Just because you enjoy it. That is, again, there's a talent that we call a learner. It's a learner talent, and you just like learning. So when you talk about positioning yourself in the market space, right, you should always be learning new things and challenging yourself to learn something new. And then when you learn that something new, try to apply it in what you're doing. That makes sense?
Okay, yeah, yeah.
So maybe if we can for a moment, what is something that you're interested in that you feel like you can learn more about?
Well, branding definitely. Graphic design for posts, um, copywriting, sales, lots of things.
Yeah, and that's a lot to bite off. I'm assuming you are a very good learner, so you can do very well. So when you look at this and you start building your offer, what you bring to the market, maybe these are things you want to start incorporating in. For you, you're on a path right now. It's going to take you some time, and I would encourage you keep investing in learning what you need to learn. You know, does that make sense? Sometimes we don't know what we need to learn, and learners, one of the things you can get off on, you're just learning stuff to learn it. How much energy, if you, instead of learning Chinese right now, which I'm not discouraging you from, right?
Mhm.
What if you took that energy from learning Chinese into branding and graphics, and now you're utilizing that talent that you have to grow your company? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Your energy is finite. You only have so much energy in a day. Let's leverage it properly, so you're not just learning, you know, again, learners just love to learn. So
Yeah.
don't care what it is, Chinese, Pig Latin, whatever. What we want to do is position that talent correctly. So what are you passionate about? Like, we talk about learning, that's a talent. What makes you want to do this?
I mean, I I don't know. You mean just learn in general?
No, I mean, what makes you want to do because you talked about positioning people, their social media,
Yeah.
if I remember correctly. What makes you want to do that?
I mean, I enjoy it. I'm not sure. I haven't really been able to pinpoint it exactly, but it's something that is interesting for me. I like helping people succeed. I like that look. I like helping. I don't know. It's satisfying to when I feel like I don't know.
No, I think it's good. That's the beauty of this is you don't have to have all the answers right now.
Yeah.
But keep thinking about it in that way. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, why do I actually love it? Don't just do it because you love it. Like think through why do I love it so that you can position yourself in the market. And then we're using your zone of genius, right? Talent meets passion equaling execution. So yeah, I love that. Love that. Who else can we pick on? Maybe who is Caroline? Why should I know? Oh, that's yeah. Who's Caroline? I don't see her picture on. Do we know Caroline?
Hi,
Hey there, Caroline. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
Good. I like
How did
Caroline.
you like when we look at these questions? Like, which ones did you struggle with?
I don't think I struggled that much answering these questions, actually.
Okay, I love that. That is fantastic. If you don't mind telling the group here, what is it that you do?
Right now I'm a voice artist, a voiceover artist.
Okay, I can hear that. You get the little smooth tone in there. What kind of voiceovers do you do? Is it like commercials or?
Mostly corporate.
Okay, like how do you do voiceovers for corporate? Please pardon my ignorance right now.
Explainer videos, promos, ads that come up. So it's not really commercial. It's kind of directed more
Okay.
towards a targeted.
Yeah. Do you like doing that?
I do. It gives me a lot of freedom. It lets me be creative and expressive. And it's just fun to get into character. Not always for corporate gigs, but for other just fun projects I get to do.
Yeah. That is very interesting, by the way. It sounds like I could ask you questions for hours on this. So when you look at it, like when we talk about like the passion there, obviously you love the creative side of it. So very creative. Do you think that's more of a thinking talent? Like how would you kind of section off the things that really make you motivated?
I think it's more creative talent. I am big on creative, so I like to do anything that's creative. Prior to doing voiceover, I was working in the fashion industry for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So it allows me that same flow and creativity where I can just
Yeah.
I don't even know what I have the words to describe, like just being creative.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Now when you're doing these voiceovers, do you get more like do you get energized from doing the voiceovers or do you get energized and coming up with what the voice is going to like? Do you do different voices, by the way?
Yes, depending on the tone of the video. Sometimes it's a little bit more like authoritative. Sometimes they want more of a friendly tone. So it
Yeah.
kind of depends on who the audience is, who my client is.
I like it. Do you get to
Sometimes
help?
they'll want something like goofy or like sarcastic. So
Okay.
there's just like so many things you can try, and it's always different. So you don't always nail the same voice all the time.
Yeah. So you kind of like the variety of it too, yeah?
Yeah, and you can kind of come up with it and improvise.
Yeah. Do you feel like right now you're in the spot that you want to be as far as careers and are you positioned correctly in what you want to do?
No, I think I could take it further.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Love that. This one, I feel like this will take a little bit of time to really dive in and figure out some of the talent there. But
Wait,
I love
Jesse,
that
I have
you're.
a question. Caroline,
Yeah.
do you get more enjoyment from writing the creative or from doing the voice?
Oh, doing the voice for sure. But sometimes I'll see scripts that I think could be changed.
If I gave you a script and I said, I don't know, Caroline, I don't really know. This is the position that I want it to be in. This is the ultimate goal. I want to sell this product. Could you come up with an ad for me that would lead to you doing the voices still? But do you think you could do that?
Absolutely. That's definitely something I can do. A lot of the times, some of the companies change direction after you've done like a take. They will hear it back and realize it's not really what it's not matching up with what they wanted. So you can kind of take it a direction or give some other take offers so that they can hear it in another perspective.
Mm.
And that might align more with what they wanted to do in the first place.
I love that. I feel like you just had a little mini job interview, by the way. Yeah, exactly.
I can
Emily's
do
like,
any
you didn't even
voice.
know.
I can
Well,
definitely
no,
do
because
any
here's what I
voiceovers.
was thinking, right? Like, because Jesse helps find the zone of genius. My passion is helping people find out how they can make money off of that passion. And so what's interesting is obviously you really enjoy the voice work, but the new challenge of creating the ad itself, the direction, how do you spot when this is going to work, not going to work? That could be something that could be interesting for you. Is all.
Yeah, I'm tracking with you, Raylan. I'm thinking about the position of something like bring your voice to life to a business, because it's both literally bringing your voice because she's going to speak, but then also understanding like the copy and the voice that goes behind it to bring it out. So there's kind of a position there.
I love it. Caroline, if I can ask one more question on this,
Of
do
course.
you have a to-do list that you keep? So do you like keep yourself pretty organized? You're a pretty organized person as far as what you got to get done at the end of the day.
I'm extremely organized.
Yeah.
Very
So
meticulous.
what I see for you, and I always, and I'm not trying to read too much into it, but you have a camera off. You are influencing, but you really enjoy the deep thinking, but you also enjoy the execution. So you enjoy strategy and execution. You don't want to necessarily be in the front of people, you know what I mean? Like directing them which way to go. Would that be pretty fair?
Oh yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's exactly.
So when we put you in your zone of genius, it's like, hey, give you a task, let you think about something. So it almost be autonomous task. So, hey, Caroline, I have this project for you. Maybe we give you a little bit of some guidelines, some very loose structure around it. And then you're going to come up with a strategy and you'll execute that task for us. And then you just want feedback on what to fix. But if we left you alone, you're probably a very independent executor. Would that also be accurate?
Yes, that's very accurate.
Yeah. So it's again, this is where we find your zone of genius, right? And what works for you versus what doesn't work for you. We want you executing. Let's put some strategy to you and let you execute. And you are going to be probably right as rain and happy most days.
Yes.
Yeah. What motivates you? Like, so do you enjoy helping people? I mean, obviously, you know, you're probably not going to want to go out and try to influence people one way, but it almost feels countercultural when I say, hey, do you enjoy people? Who's going to say, no, I hate helping people, right? Well, thanks.
Yeah.
You're a butthole. But what motivates you? Like, what makes you want to wake up and just show up in the morning?
I'm usually motivated by just like constant self-improvement. Being able to do what I want freely. Learning and serving where I can.
I like that. I like that. Thank you for sharing, Caroline. And then again, so that's
course,
your
thank
passion.
you.
And if you ever get a chance to work with Raylan is fantastic at creating offers and helping people unfold how to not just monetize it, but really take it to market. So
yes.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I want to pick on one more person and I'm running out of time here. But if I can pick on Micah. Micah, can I pick on you? I saw you eating and I was like, now is the perfect time to get Micah to start talking.
Yeah.
I hope it was really good.
I just started eating, so, but we can do this.
Yeah, so you were talking about you feel like you're finding your zone of genius. Maybe help us understand where you started a little bit and where you're kind of landing at the moment.
Well, as far as this space that we're in now, like coaching, consulting, just like whatever. Prior to, I was really just focusing in on, like, especially during the pandemic, I had to pivot from what I was doing prior to the pandemic. I was doing 100% just the clothing line and my photography stuff, videography stuff, and also doing a lot of pop-up events, fashion shows, all of that. The pandemic hit, and then I had to shift. And I shifted into the coaching space because I was good at it, right? I was good at, teaching people how to create, just, taking my knowledge and packaging that. But what I learned, I really didn't love doing that. I started learning, like, I didn't really love it. I was just doing it for money, just doing it to pay the bills. So now I'm in this space now, reworking everything and really focusing in more on community building and really pushing conversation, and going to be working with influencers and teaching them how to do those things so they can make money and they can basically convert, because there's a lot of people who have large audiences, but they have no conversion. They are not monetizing their audiences and they're not converting, and there's no real community there. So so through the podcast, through the clothing line, all of those things, I'm kind of in a space now that I'm learning how to merge that all together and merge it with my content. And that's why I feel like I'm actually getting in my zone of genius right now.
Yeah, so when you look at your talent, one of the things that I see is your ideation. You have a ton of ideas. That'd be fair. Like, you always have another idea. And one of the temptations when you're talented in ideas is you'll chase different ideas and never see one through to completion. Is that, yeah. So that's where a talent can actually go from a strength to a weakness. And we want to make sure we keep positioning you, right? And this is, again, your partnership with Raylan right now is really good, because one of Raylan's talents is focus. He's really good at focusing on something. But then the other side of it is you're also an influencer. Like, you kind of have a little bit of each domain. Some people, like me, I'm an influencer thinker. I'm not a relationship guy. I do relationships different than most people do. And I'm not an execution guy, right? I'm just not. So for you, though, you have a little bit in each domain when we start talking about it. And I apologize, I'm getting into some Gallup talk here, but what is, when we talk about your passion, so obviously you need to make money, but I wouldn't say that making money is your biggest passion.
No, not at all.
No, it's helping people and bringing awareness. Would you say that it's bringing awareness to communities?
Yeah. Bring it. I would say my real passion is bringing awareness to communities, but also pushing people to have conversations that might be difficult, but that will kind of impact, influence, change people's lives.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I love is I'm watching and I've seen your content and I see, like, your clothing line. I see what you do. You are very vocal about the Black community, right? And I love that, by the way. I think that's amazing. But as we talk through that, it's positioning that too. So everything else is actually secondary to that primary motive when I see you operate. Like, even the conversations about the culture, it's about bringing awareness to the Black community and empowering that community, right, to go out and make money or do whatever it is they're passionate about. To me, that's where I see your passion really coming out in your content and even branding. Like, that's a great place to brand. So now it's just, how do we use your talent, which again is ideation. I think you're good on execution, but you're not as strong of an executioner as you are. And I love the word executioner. I feel like you should have a hood and like an axe, right? But that execution, that thinking kind of combat, you're a better thinker. And so if you keep you there, some of the best partnerships for you, Micah, that will work best is finding people who are really good at execution and being able to delegate, because you're an influencer and a thinker, very similar to me and very similar to Raylan. Raylan's very high on that as well, where you can come in, influence the direction, you find people, and we could get creative with how you do certain things like that, right? Because the other thing for you, do you work best alone or do you work best on a team?
I would say I work best with a team, but I work more alone because I don't always trust people to take the vision.
Oh, brother, we can dig into that. That'll be some digging into.
That's a thing.
Yeah, because your fear is actually getting in the way of your zone of genius. you have a limiting thought process, and it's probably history. We all have some of that, where
Right.
like for me, I've been screwed out of so many things. I'm like, can I trust people? Right. But at some point, for you to stay in that zone of genius, finding somebody to partner with and being creative in how to structure that deal so that you both are getting paid. Again, at the end of the day, you're not motivated by making more money. You're motivated about influencing, moving people, and bringing awareness to problems. So how do you find the right partnership strategically to accomplish your goal, keep you in that zone of genius, and help move that forward? Because you can, in this realm, Micah, you can make a lot of money, and you don't have to be the BLM president in order to do it. Just saying that because I saw that post, and I hear what you're saying on that, you know? So you can do this and still be very benevolent in the process of that. But I think finding key partnerships and really working through that and finding other people that you trust and running those deals by them is where I think you would be, that's where you're going to see the best return on your investment. Is that fair for me to say all of that?
That's pretty solid. That's pretty solid.
All right. Hey, we are button up to time on this, guys.
Jesse, can I ask you a question real quick? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Let me butt in. Since we're butting into things, let me butt in.
Just don't be an ass.
In doing this work, one of the problems, so I do similar, you know, when I do similar work about purpose, right? And what you love and what brings you fulfillment and what's going on behind the scenes. How important, or is, maybe I'm leading the question wrong, is context important to this? And the reason I ask that question is because we're at a business workshop right now, and you asked the question about what do you love to do, and almost everybody's mind went to, what do I love to do in my business? What do I love to do about my business, right? And that's the thing that I always struggle with, getting people like when I talk to clients, because I source them from Instagram, it's always about, what do I want to do on Instagram? How do I make my Instagram better? And getting people to think back beyond Instagram, back behind their business, back to them as a human being, sans whatever avenue they take in their life. How difficult is that? And how important is that for an exercise like this?
I think it is fantastically important. One, to get out of the mental model of, hey, this has to be about business. Because the way I show up in my life is like, so this is the question. Do you want to center, most of us center our passions around business, but then we hate the business, right? We're like, oh, I'm really good. So I'll use Raylan to go back to some of his examples. He was really, really good at sales, right? That's fantastic. But that wasn't his passion. It was the creative process. Now, if we were to really dive into how Raylan showed up in his daily life, like what does he daydream about, right? Where does he go? Raylan's also a very deep strategic thinker. Tim, you are a deep strategic thinker. Is that also fair? Yeah, and you are incredibly creative. When I think about what you did, even in life before this, what drives that passion is not the business. So you went from different contexts as well. You went from a 501c3, right, to a for-profit. Now we could keep those two things separate, and that's all good. But really, what you did well at the 501c3, you're doing well in the for-profit area. And then think about how you show up for your kids, right? Like, when you do a birthday party, do you just, everybody shows up and kind of shows up? Or are you a little bit more like, hey, let's think about the details? Do you want to theme out birthday parties?
When it comes to those things, I don't actually, because I just want the minimal amount of work. So it's not that my brain doesn't go there. I just don't want to do any of it.
Well, and so that's,
that about me.
Yeah.
Right.
But that's a beautiful thing too. Is like, because again, your brain went there. You think about it, right? So for you, like when you think about that ideation, you're really high on that ideation and that creative. Most creative people are thinkers. They're deep thinkers. They're learners. How that shows up is going to be different. But no, I agree with what you're saying, Tim. It's not, you can't think about it just in the business context. You have to go into life as a whole. Life as a whole is important. So,
real quick, we are going to wrap up and take a break real quick so that way we can come back and go with Kyle. But first and foremost, put your hands together. Jesse, that was amazing. Great job. A note on that. What's interesting is, so I went, my joy, the thing that brings me joy is having and giving aha moments. It's like my favorite thing in the ever, right? When you learn something or you connect two things together and you go, oh my God, because in that moment, I feel like I have something that nobody else has. And so why Jesse's is so important is, I'm telling you right now, and we are more motivated by fear than the excitement of things. But what is at risk for you not like finding the zone of genius is ultimately you will have a limit to how far you can go if you don't spend the time. And again, I'm a perfect example of this. I was a sales coach forever because everyone told me you got to niche down, you got to do whatever, but I fucking hated sales. Okay. It's boring to me. There's only so much you can talk about. Okay. When it comes to just that one thing, and I got bored. So then I started exploring everything. And once I let go of I'm just a sales coach and I focused on the aha moment, giving people aha moments, that's when everything started changing and everything started opening up. But also think about from the other, for those that don't know, we have an agency, we have a marketing agency. So that came out of me knowing my zone of genius is offer building and telling people about it, right? Getting people bought into it. Now, when you're someone like me that's low in execution and other parts of the business like needs to be able to grow, that's why you bring in like Kayla is an executor. Why do you think she was the first hire? Because she's an executor, right? Then you bring in people like Tim, and the game, there's a difference between, and Jesse and I talked about this, and I'm going to wrap up and then we're going to take a 10-minute break, is there's a difference between an entrepreneur or a solopreneur and a CEO. Now, some of you on this call is going to be like, I don't want to say just an entrepreneur or a solopreneur, but because there's nothing wrong with it. You could be by yourself for a long time, make a whole bunch of money doing it, and there's nothing wrong with it. But if you have any inclination that you want to be a CEO one day, meaning you have employees, you have people that report to you, etc., you have to know what your zone of genius is and get a team around you that you can trust to do the stuff that you're not good at or you don't enjoy doing. Again, can I do do I know enough about to be dangerous about building a funnel or branding for that matter? Yes. But if I have to sit on a call with you for an hour and ask you question after question about, what's your favorite color and shit, and then like, what does that mean to you? Again, it's way more that Tim does. I'm just joking around. But again, that would bore me. I could do it, but that would bore me. But I could spend literally all day and have all the energy in the world building offers. So I built, the thing is, your zone of genius, whatever that thing is, you can make an entire business around that thing. And you should, right? Like my entire business, everything that I do is based off what I love doing. And this is what's interesting. Okay. And this is the thing that maybe will piss some people off. Everything that I do is not based on helping people. I put me first because the best way that I can serve is to serve the best way I know how. I can't help you if I'm helping you with shit that I don't like doing, because I'm going to be miserable the whole time. But if I put me first, what do I love doing? What can I do all day long? And here's the other question you can probably write down from a business perspective is, what would I do for free if I had to? Because honestly, when it comes to offer building and coaching and running these workshops, I would literally do it for free every day of my life. That's how you know you got something. Would you do it for free? Don't ever do it for free. Look at me when I tell you this. Look at me in the eyes. Don't fucking do it for free. But it's the point that you would. And that is where it lies. And then everything else you don't like doing, you get somebody that can help you with it. That's if you want to be a CEO. Right? Because again, you have to do it. If you want to be a solopreneur and you're like, I don't want to do any teams, I don't want to do whatever. And here's this little secret part too. If you don't enjoy leadership, if you're like, I don't want to manage a team, if that's the reason why you don't be a CEO, that's bullshit. Guess what? You can find somebody who will. You can find this. That's what a COO is called. It's called, I don't want to be around people. You deal with it. That's what that position's called.